Hello everyone, and welcome to 4Panel, the Geek Show's dedicated comics podcast. I'm your host Andrew, and as per usual, I'm joined by my co-host Rob.
Hello!
And Mick.
Hello!
So, how are we both doing today, guys?
Too hot.
It's not that bad. There is a breeze.
Not much of one.
But still, a breeze. I mean, it's not like last year when I went to Bangladesh and the heat was like unrelenting.
What you've got to remember is that I break into a sweat the minute the temperature goes above freezing. I'm basically Victor Freeze.
Victor Freeze doesn't break. Oh, actually, yes, I suppose melting is kind of sweat, isn't it?
Can I just say that's a really weird coincidence, because I did watch the Mr. Freeze episode of Batman the Animated Series like a couple of nights ago.
Oh.
But yeah, the sky may be this, unnatural shade of blue rather than its usual healthy grey. And this strange glowing orb may be hanging about. But apart from that, I think things are going okay.
They're letting more people out on the streets.
And you say that like that's a good thing.
Well,
I've seen
segue to Iron Man.
I was going to say, if they let them all out, maybe everyone should be wearing armours to protect themselves instead of just face masks.
That'll do. So yeah, Iron Man. Tony Stark. We know him. We love him, or at least
tolerate him.
Yeah.
Want to give him a wedgie for being too smart.
And a punch for being too rich.
Yeah.
But I think something we can all agree on about Iron Man is, he's pretty easy to follow. He's Tony Stark. He's a rich guy. He built himself a suit of armor. It flies. It shoots laser blasts. That's all hunky-dory. He's not like one of those, Supermans with his stories full of weird powers, is he, guys?
See, you say that, but
well, I've got concerns about the limitations of Iron Man's armor. I mean, as you say, it flies, all right. But that in itself is a problem. Well, because let me finish.
Okay.
I don't know about in the US, but certainly in the UK, if you're going to fly, you have to file a flight plan with the Civil Aviation Authority.
You have to do that in the US as well, especially in built-up areas.
Now, at busy times, you're not going to be able to get that through when Hydra need to be stopped. Right?
Are you saying one of Iron Man's powers is super bureaucracy?
So, what if he can't get his flight plan filed in time to stop the bad guys? He needs some other form of transportation built into the suit. That's what he needs, and he's never had it. Has he, Andrew?
I mean, no, Mick. No, he hasn't. What he has had is little rollerblades in his shoes. Yep, it's a weird Iron Man powers episode.
Rollerblades? Specifically rollerblades?
No,
okay, roller skates. The teeny tiny wheels in his shoes.
Yes.
Now you see, that makes sense, that you can nip in and out of rush hour traffic.
Oh, no. I mean, the best bit is the fact that he brags about them.
Yeah. But would you like to know the full story behind Tony Stark's roller skates?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Because they didn't actually start off as just an Iron Man thing. We first see roller skates in Tales of Suspense issue 40. I mean, we see them in real life before Tales of Suspense issue 40. But in Iron Man comics, this is the first time. And yeah, there's this, it's Tony Stark's second appearance. He's just become Iron Man. He's just decided, right, that's it. I'm not making weapons anymore. But what he is going to make for the army, rocket-powered roller skates.
Yep.
Imagine it. An entire infantry division with just little wheels on their feet, blasting forward at 60 miles an hour.
Was this the man?
Get into the enemy HQ and discovering that they've got stairs.
Yeah. Wasn't this the Mandroids he was making for the army that he was training?
Oh no, yeah, this is early 1960s, Rob. Mandroids aren't barely a twinkle in the eye of Marvel Comics.
This was back when he was still kind of the gold armor thing, wasn't it?
Yes, this is when it was literally just like an old-timey diving suit.
Yeah.
Which Stan Lee stuck the word transistors in front of a lot.
Yes, transistors were everything then.
But yeah, from there, Tony Stark decided he was going to incorporate little roller skates in his shoes. The weird thing is, a lot of the things we're going to be covering today are like weird one-off stories. Roller skates were like a staple of the Iron Man armor until the mid-80s.
Yeah, they lasted a while, is what I was going to say. At every opportunity they could break out the roller skates, you'd have this weird panel of Iron Man in some strange pose, just complimenting the fact that he's got his roller skates, either talking to himself or talking to someone else, saying, "Did you forget I've got my roller skates?"
As the little jets of steam kind of come out the soles of his feet, he goes, "Choo!"
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. Like you said, Rob, comic art is many things. You can draw, like, anything the mind can imagine.
Yeah.
The one thing you cannot do is make someone look cool on roller skates.
No, even if he's covered in armour.
Of course,
I mean, there's
the advantage to having the roller skates in the armour, though. I mean, if Stark Industries collapsed and he was left penniless, he could scrape together a living working as one of those cocktail waiters.
But I mean, there's this one panel that I found, which I kind of remember the story, and it does involve Mandroids. The panel has Captain America recovering his shield, and Iron Man reminding Captain America that he's got his roller skates. But the pose is Iron Man is holding his stomach while his roller skates jet off, as if he's desperate for the toilet. Like something's gone wrong with the burrito he ate for lunch.
I've also got a problem with the term mandroids. But only because it's a completely redundant name.
Yeah.
Because android already means man-shaped.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just the best thing about the mandroids is they're not really that man-shaped, are they?
No.
they're kind of egg-shaped, but with just little arm and foot sockets.
So the completely redundant name doesn't even work.
Is that like two negatives make a positive?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd also like to point out that the first issue of Tales of Suspense that featured the roller skates in Iron Man's armour was published on April Fool's Day. Just saying.
Here's a question, Andrew. I remembered, right, Iron Man obviously has a weakness to magnets because he's a guy in metal armour, yeah? But
that's never going to come up, Rob. It's not like Marvel have a character whose whole deal is magnets.
Yeah, but doesn't Iron Man also have a suit of armour that is basically magnets? Isn't he also master of magnet, just like Magneto?
Yeah, I know he certainly has like anti-magnetic.
Is it me or is
armor.
Rob breaking up?
Hey?
I mean, he's definitely cracking up.
I've missed most of this magnet conversation. I don't know what's up.
I think it might be our internet. It might be our connection. Basically, I was saying that Iron Man's weakness is magnets. Well, one of his weaknesses is magnets, but he also has a suit of armor that is not only anti-magnetic, but also has the power of magnets. So, like Magneto, he is master of magnet.
And then I was waffling up some explanation, because for me, thought just sending people a list of the things we were going to talk about on this show would be enough. That I wouldn't have to look up anything else apart from that.
I'm just saying, do you remember that? That's all. It's one of those ones that while I was going through the list, struck me as like, hang on, doesn't he also have the power of magnets, but his weakness is magnets? How does that work?
So just like all of us, Tony Stark also finds himself repulsive. There we go. There's a joke for you.
It's a good one, actually. I like it.
Oh dear.
Right, shall I move on to another one?
Yes.
Well, I've seen some of Tony Stark's weird Iron Man powers, and one of them seems completely and utterly redundant. I mean, nose armor?
Oh. So what, are you going to go fight the Mandarin with an unprotected nose, Mick?
Well, no, because
if it gets damaged, you'll never be able to smell again.
Yep.
When I spend my entire active day encased in an iron suit, I probably never want to smell again anyway. Especially if it's hot.
He's got a good point there.
Also, and I know my memory's not failing me because it's not that long since we did Iron Man on another podcast. So I've watched it recently. It's got a full face helmet. Why does he need extra nose armor?
Well, therein lies a story. So
I'll
there
make
was
myself comfortable.
During the, I believe it was kind of the late 60s, of just like a few short issues where the Iron Man armor had just a little nose on it.
Yep.
And it is rightly regarded as just utterly ridiculous. So the kind of in-comics explanation is that in Iron Man issue 68, Tony was chasing after the Mandarin and kind of was following after his submarine. But oh no, his plexiglass, like, iron mouth guards, they started cracking. God, I love how, like, ridiculously crap the armor was in, like, the 60s. Plexiglass.
Mm.
So anyway, Tony goes to kind of make a new version of his helmet with, I think it's like a steel mesh for the eyes and mouth instead. And also decides he's just going to slap on a nose to make the mask, and I quote, more expressive.
Because that's the key thing, isn't it, with facial expressions? The nose is an integral part of it.
Yep. See, what I love about this explanation is the steel mesh for the eyes and mouth. The steel mesh for the eyes, in particular.
Yeah, but I think you're forgetting one important thing, Rob. And that's transistors.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the transistors.
Yeah.
Actually, by this point, I think repulsors was the replacement word for shut up, don't ask questions. Anyway, as the story goes behind the scenes, it's kind of a bit of an urban legend that the nose on the Iron Man armor was something Stan Lee specifically asked for. But what the actual story does seem to be is that during this time, Stan Lee, he was kind of editor of basically all the books. So he didn't really have time to always check every single issue. And he just, kind of check out books every few issues to make sure they were running on track. And while he was looking through some of the art for one of the Iron Man issues, he noticed that, so basically Tony's face had been drawn in such a way where there wasn't really a gap between, like, the eye hole and on the mouth and where his eyes were.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was kind of right up against his face, to which Stan Lee added the note, "Where's his nose?" Meaning, the faceplate can't be there, you need a gap for his nose to be. But the editors then interpreted it as, why does the armor not have a nose? And that lasted right up until Stan Lee took another look through kind of the next batch of Iron Man comics and said, why does Iron Man have a nose now? Oh, no, not even that's not what I meant, just, why does Iron Man have a nose? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Take it off. And thus ended the nose armor.
Just a very quick aside from the nose armor. I've just found a little diagram that I want to share with you.
Yeah, that'll work on a podcast.
It's the transistorized version of Iron Man, right?
I'm so worried.
It's not that bad, thankfully. But
I just feel like when strange men say to me, I want to show you a diagram, it usually doesn't end well.
The exact location of some of Iron Man's many transistorized devices.
I've just seen that very diagram, because that appears in issue 72 of Iron Man Volume 1.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot they used to have like a tiny radio antenna just coming off his shoulder.
Exactly. The belt with equipment storage, the first aid equipment.
Hold on, why, if you've got, let's face it, what is effectively a utility belt, right? Why would you not put your first aid equipment on that rather than in the tip of your boot? Tony Stark's an idiot.
So, is this armor saying that
side pods for spare radio parts?
Oh no! The one that I want to draw attention to is, the unibeam thing that he's got. Was that just a spotlight at the beginning?
variable power spotlight, which to me says it's more powered by a rheostat than a transistor. But there you go.
God, I know my favourite thing is the idea of just him having like little pockets with radio parts in,
like a nerd at Radio Shack.
he's like a hybrid between Radio Shack and Deliveroo.
He's got a pocket full of his little bits of wire that he carries about.
And he sounds
maybe some spare batteries.
He sounds like an old grandpa who spent a lifetime as an electrician.
It's like when Captain America goes to Avengers Tower, having gone to a car boot sale and picked up some 40s electronics. Iron Man pops around and goes, "Oh wait, I've got a connector that'll get that working." Hang on a sec. Instead of them wasting days looking for a SCART to HDMI lead.
Yeah, good point.
Iron Man, the ultimate cable guy.
It just flies around people's houses picking up all those leftover cables you've got when you switch over your TV.
So anyway, let's move on to something a bit smarter.
What, smarter than Tony Stark?
I mean, judging from what we've just seen, it's not that hard, is it?
No.
Do you want to talk about the worst one?
Go on then.
The time Tony Stark's armor came alive.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, but this is a story arc from Iron Man issues 26 to 30 from the year 2000. This time, the exact year is very important.
Yep.
That being said, however, we're now going to quickly flash back to 1998. So, as with all worst things in Marvel Comics, we're coming off the end of Onslaught and Heroes Reborn.
Yep.
Where there was an entire line of Marvel Comics basically run by Rob Liefeld.
Mm.
But anyway, it's okay. That's all gone. It can't hurt us anymore. One thing is, it's 1998, Tony Stark's back. And as is customary when he returns from a life-changing event, new armor time. And this time he came up with a suit known as the Renaissance armor, which is actually my favourite suit of Iron Man armor. I think it's really cool. It's like the old classic red and gold one.
Yeah.
But it's got like a nice big chunky, I think it's like a hexagon on the chest plate. He's got big shoulder pads. And he's got back to like the horned helmet that the first one had. He's got like cool glowing lines on his arms and helmet. I think it looked really neat. Unfortunately, it made Tony Stark ill due to vague reasons, basically boiling down to he's become ill from too much electricity.
Yeah.
Did he get coronavirus by flying too close to a 5G mast?
I mean, that's eerily prescient to the storyline we're about to delve into.
Yeah. This was a very odd period. I had no idea what was going on at this point.
So, basically, as we started, it's now the year 2000. Tony Stark has built himself a new suit, pretty much identical, but with better electricity controls on it or something.
Yeah, he went
electromagnet. It's the year 2000, so the word electromagnets was used a lot.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, after the Onslaught stuff and everything like that, Tony just went, stop, armor time, and then just started going nuts. The weird thing is, after at the beginning of Iron Man 3, the movie, he was kind of like that after the whole Onslaught thing.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, Iron Man, new armor. He's fighting Whiplash, who I'm sure we all remember from Iron Man 2, everyone's favourite. So I buckle in because this is where things start going a bit weird. So Iron Man's fighting Whiplash in a thunderstorm, as you do, when, oh no, he gets hit by one of Whiplash's electrical whips. And once again, the Iron Man armor is affected by its one weakness, too much electric. Only this time, once the smoke's cleared, the Iron Man armor is somehow sentient.
It's because number 5 is alive.
I mean, basically, what it is like there's an original explanation for why Tony's armor became sentient, and then a retcon explanation. We'll start with the more complicated retcon explanation, because it's the more boring one.
Yeah.
And that's basically just that it got infected by Ultron. And that implanted a thing called the Ultron Imperative, which is where, like, any machine that Ultron touches then, like, has the programming to try and rebuild Ultron.
See, I always question the Ultron Imperative. I want to know, how far does the Ultron Imperative go? Does it work on, like, a toaster or a coffee machine?
Yes. I mean, I guess the real answer is it's anything that has computer programming in it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But they never explain it like that. They always say any machine.
Yeah. But anyway, who cares? Because the Ultron explanation, that's boring.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the original reason was, Mick?
Go on. Enlighten me.
It got the Y2K bug.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Of course it did.
See, I said it was important that this story happened in the year 2000.
See, I love the fact that you only asked Mick because you're fully aware I know this.
Oh, yeah. I think we have definitely talked many times in the past about how ridiculous this story is.
Oh.
And yeah, then the armor becomes sentient, decides it's in love with Tony. But the bad kind of in love, where it kidnaps you, takes you to a deserted island, and, like, ties you to a pole for a few weeks.
Yeah, basically Tony Stark built his own stalker armor.
I mean, it did redeem itself by growing its own cyborg heart inside of itself, then ripping that heart out and shoving it in Tony's chest.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. Don't forget, the two key words here are Rob Liefeld.
No, actually, this was Joe Quesada.
Oh, God. I forgot he'd taken over at that point, hadn't he?
Yeah, no, Rob Liefeld was just kind of... I mean, technically he was until halfway through Heroes Born, where he kind of just got bored and ran off.
Yeah, but the damage had been done by that point.
Yeah, this was old Joey Q taking over.
I mean, given what Rob Liefeld's legs must be like, because he must base his drawing on something, that must have been entertaining to watch him run away.
See, I always wondered if Rob Liefeld just kind of took things a bit too literally. In America, they sometimes refer to legs as pins, so maybe he took that literally when he was a kid. And maybe before agreeing to this particular storyline, he'd watched like Short Circuit 1 and 2.
I mean, again, Joe Quesada, not Rob Liefeld. And also, I dispute your claim, Mick. I feel like if Rob Liefeld had actual Liefeld personality, it would be horrifying, not funny. It'd be so spindly and pointy. He'd be like a Spider-Man, but not that one. A bad Spider-Man. Anyway, it's okay because that's the weirdest Iron Man story we're going to talk about today.
Phew.
No, it isn't.
You're right, that was a complete lie.
Oh, man.
It's Ultimate Iron Man time.
Are we talking about his Smurf face?
Yes, we are.
Iron Smurf.
Iron Smurf is right.
I don't remember that one in the village.
See, it's great because I'm hoping there's people listening to this who don't know about the Ultimate Iron Man miniseries and so think that is just some kind of weird Rob non sequitur. But no, it isn't. It's not at all. So, bit of backstory. The Ultimate Universe, this was launched kind of early 2000s as a sort of way to reboot the Marvel Universe for a younger audience, but without, like, you know, cancelling everything that come before it, like what DC does sometimes. So this was kind of just its own, like, separate universe. And so in the series, the Ultimates, which was their version of the Avengers, were introduced to the Ultimate version of Iron Man. And he's pretty recognizable. He's Tony Stark. This universe, he's a bit more like of just a womanizing alcoholic, which I know, given what normal Tony Stark is like, it's hard to imagine that, but more. And in this universe, kind of his devil may care attitude is due to an inoperable brain tumor that might kill him at any point.
More on that later.
Indeed. That's what we call foreshadowing. He also has a really cool suit of armor that I like. Because it's the one where it's kind of like red and grey, and the helmet's sort of pentagonal shaped, like a jet fighter's helmet, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Anyway, in about, I think, 2006, science fiction author and just real bad person Orson Scott Card was hired to write an Ultimate Iron Man miniseries detailing Tony Stark's teen years.
Oh God, I forgot this. Was Orson Scott Card the person responsible for Iron Smurf?
Yes. I
forgot.
I think responsible for is definitely the right choice of words, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in the same way that the new puppy is responsible for the mess on the carpet.
Yeah.
So again, Mick, you know how I just said that this version of Tony Stark is basically the same as the normal Tony Stark?
Yes.
Yeah, forget that, because turns out actually Antonio Stark, when he was in his mother's womb, was experiencing some science what's-its that made his entire skin turn into neural tissue. He's smart because he's all brain.
Even though it looks like he's got a six-pack, he doesn't. That's not a six-pack. He's all brain, no brawn.
Yes.
So he's literally all brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, as we all know, your brain meats are inside parts. They can't be on the outside.
Yeah. See, when he flexes his biceps, that's not his biceps, that's his, prefrontal cortex. He's flexing.
Also, why is he not all wrinkly?
Exactly.
Anyway, to protect him from the outside world, Howard Stark makes him like a protective suit of biological armor. And now, you would think this being an Iron Man comic, that would look like just the Iron Man armor, right? That's where this is going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. It looks like blue paint.
Yeah. I mean, apparently the blue paste is alive somehow. And it protects him from being hit by, baseball bats and stuff like that.
Yes. And because it's the 2000s, and I have just realized, like, kind of the through line of this episode is just, we're going through what each decade had as their hand-wavy nonsense science word. This one was made from nanobots.
Yep.
I'm guessing as we progress, we'll get into quantum as well, will we?
I don't think we have had a quantum Iron Man yet.
No. We've had what if that could kind of classify as quantum, but more on that in a bit.
We will. But yeah, Orson Scott Card's Ultimate Iron Man miniseries. It's bad. Don't read it. It was so bad that they literally just made it not canon.
Yeah. I love the fact that it's just completely ignored now, and nobody wants to acknowledge its existence.
It is, because it's just complete nonsense. I think that is kind of my benchmark for putting down a comic and just thinking, what the hell did I just read?
So what you're telling me is that there's a comic book miniseries that cannot be explained away by the phrase, because comics.
Well, there's more than one, but, the Iron Smurf period is...
yeah.
It's particularly noteworthy. See, this is what happens when you let a crazed sci-fi author who's still angry about the fact that someone nicked his ideas for Harry Potter and sold more books than him, into comics.
And also that sometimes boys kiss each other.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to avoid that particular little bugbear of his, even though he's a horrible person.
I know, but he doesn't deserve for tact and diplomacy. Orson Scott Card is a poopy garbage man and his comics are bad.
What Andrew said.
Now would you like to look at kind of a very similar idea but done much better?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, a lot of people don't know this, but Iron Man is Wolverine, kind of.
I mean, yes. Yes, actually. I cannot dispute this. So we are going to be talking about now Extremis, which is a storyline that ran through Iron Man Volume 4, issues 1 to 6. And this was basically the story that, it's probably, a good 5 years or so-ish, was like the definitive Iron Man story.
Yep.
So in the series, written by Warren Ellis with art by Adi Granov, because I figured this is a big one, so we should maybe point out the team. We are introduced to scientist Maya Hansen, who has developed a new biohacking virus. There it is. There's our new buzzword.
Biohack.
Called Extremis, which can rewrite people's DNA to give them superpowers, as seen in the hit film Iron Man 3, which is actually the best one. So, yeah, Extremis, it gives people superpowers, including an assassin known only as Malin, who Iron Man then tries to stop, only to find, like, he's now extremely outclassed by this guy, because he can, like, punch through walls and shoot flame from his mouth.
Yeah.
And so Tony Stark loses a fight with him very badly, is, like, very nearly killed, and the only way to save his life is to inject him with the Extremis virus. So that rewrites Tony's DNA. And as part of that, he, like, merges with his newest suit of armor. So Tony's, like, now a full-blown superhuman. Like, he's got his Iron Man armor, which now exists, like, as liquid metal in the hollows of his bones.
He is Borg, isn't he?
Yeah, he is Borg / Wolverine. Because, like, he's got metal bones and can, like, heal from injuries now. I mean, I guess one thing Wolverine can't do, as far as I'm aware, is, like, talk to satellites.
No, but that would be freaky if he could.
I mean, I guess he can. I guess he can kind of yell at them to, like, work your blasted piece of crap.
And just the thought of Wolverine stopping and talking to nothing in particular from time to time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that is actually most Wolverine comics.
True, it is.
Yeah, I like Extremis. Extremis is cool. It's like, it very much seems like kind of taking the next big step for Iron Man.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's transforming him from, like, this big bulky suit of armor to this very sleek, like, almost skin-tight one. So obviously the idea is, like, now that he can just control it with his mind, keep it in your pants, Rob. Because the idea is that now that he can control it with his mind, like, he doesn't need any onboard computer systems, so he can strip a lot of that out. Like, so it does look, like, sleeker and better and more high-tech. And the idea, like, he can now just, like, with his mind, hack into satellites. That does make the armor seem impressive again.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, it's the design that basically every Iron Man thing since it's been based on. Like, it's very much what the movie Iron Man arm is based on.
Yeah, yeah.
But now should we go in the complete opposite direction?
Yes.
Because who cares about all this fancy schmancy technology when you can have magic instead? So this is the Thorbuster armor from Iron Man Volume 3, Issue 64. So, as we're probably aware, one of Iron Man's more famous alternate suits of armor is the Hulkbuster armor.
Yes.
Which is, just a big, bulky suit designed for punching the Hulk.
And not only that, but receiving punches from said Hulk.
Indeed, which is quite important when fighting the Hulk.
Yes.
So this is Tony Stark basically saying, well, what if I need an armor to take down Thor? And so he builds a suit that looks a lot like the Destroyer from Thor comics.
Yep.
Or the first Thor movie, if you're more familiar with that.
Remarkably kind of so. It looks remarkably like it.
Yeah, if I was Odin, I'd be filing some copyright claims.
Yeah.
Because he's even got, like, the weird tuning fork thing on the forehead.
Yeah, I was about to say the tuning fork is a particular note.
Yeah, because that would be the first thing going through his mind. You know, it wouldn't be, why is Tony Stark planning to take down my son?
Oh no, he would be thinking that. I mean, this is Odin. He can think. He can think many thoughts at once.
Yeah, having read plenty of comics with Odin in them,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure his first thought would be, wait a minute, that's my armor design.
Yeah, seriously. Somewhere behind that would be, I think he's going to have a fight with my son. And also behind that would be, I wonder what Freya's made for lunch today. And then behind that would be, that Valkyrie looks pretty fine. This is
also, I should point out, Tony Stark's entire plan was not just, I'm going to build a suit of armor that looks like a suit of armor that Thor wants. It also has like a big magic gemstone instead of a repulsor.
Yeah.
Of course.
And do you know what? Do you know what, guys?
What?
It was a bit crap.
Yeah.
Got torn apart like very quickly.
Yeah.
Because I love that that's kind of a recurring thing with Tony Stark. I'm going, ooh, my friends might turn against me. I better build an armor that's like specifically designed to take them down. And then it just gets torn apart within 5 minutes.
See, I love the fact that Marvel keeps trying to make turn Tony Stark into Batman, but really failing at it. He is a very crap Batman, isn't he?
He is. Because I feel like if you're trying to fight a guy whose main thing is punching very hard,
yeah,
don't build an armor that's just can punch almost as hard as they can, but not quite.
What I love about you using the punching thing is Tony Stark's supposed to be a world-class fighter, like Batman. But they never use that because most of what he does is like long-range attacks using his, his hand beams and his rockets and stuff like that. So you think, well, hang on, how is the world-class fighter bit useful? It's not.
I mean, I guess in theory it's more for if he were to find himself in a situation without his armor. But also, I'm pretty sure Tony Stark is the kind of guy who's had like 2 martial arts lessons from Captain America and then said, right, yep, I know all that now.
Yeah. He is exactly that guy, isn't he?
Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, I can probably take him.
Just wait
but just in case, I'll make a special Shang-Chi Buster armor.
That is exactly Tony Stark, though. I'll make it a suit of armor that has memorized all martial arts and all forms of combat, all forms of hand-to-hand combat, and then I'll wear that and I'll beat them, not realizing that because his body is just like, slightly flabby Tony.
You know
when
that
the armor does the movements, he's gonna pull all sorts of muscles.
You know that old military adage that out there there's a bullet with my name on it?
Yeah.
In Marvel world, do all the heroes go around thinking, Tony Stark's got a suit of armor with my name on it, and the word Buster afterwards?
Oh, yeah. That's not good. That's not a good thought, Mick. I just put some of the heroes and then the word Buster at the end of it. I'm like, no, that's just wrong.
I mean, he does canonically have a Squirrel Girl Buster suit of armor. Also, I do now love the idea of him having things like the Punisher Buster armor. Well, that could be literally any suit of his. Like, you can just shoot him with a laser beam.
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man Buster armor.
Yeah.
which probably just, I don't know, traps Spider-Man in a bath.
Or maybe under a giant glass. But what does he do about the superheroes? I mean, is it Reed Richards Buster? Oh, Mr. Fantastic Buster.
I'm pretty sure that the Mr. Fantastic Buster armor is just, it's a little piece of paper that he hands to Reed that says, bet you can't build a square circle.
True.
Or maybe because Mr. Fantastic and his Fantastic Four tend to fight as one unit. Maybe he's got a Fantastic Four Buster armor that's like a Swiss Army knife and has different tools depending on whether he's fighting the Human Torch, Invisible Girl, the Thing.
And so he made the armor version of Super Skrull.
Yeah.
Actually, do you think, no, what I think that suit of armor is, it's during this story when, like, the God of Thunder is just smashing him apart with his hammer. Tony said, no, it's Birdie, pal, you misheard me. This is my 4-buster armor.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to this original one, there was a kind of very similar concept in a much later comic, a event called Fear Itself, where basically Odin's brother, Kull, aka the Serpent, came to Earth. And, you know how on the first day of school, where your mum kind of packs you maybe a few extra chocolate bars so you can make new friends? Basically, the Serpent did that, but with hammers.
Okay.
So he turned a bunch of villains into kind of Thor knockoffs.
Did he have like an Oprah Winfrey type scenario where he goes, "You get a hammer, you get a hammer, you get a hammer"?
Pretty much. So basically, to combat that, the heroes of Earth, they had to get their own magical weapons. So Tony went to Asgard, started working with the dwarves there to make a bunch of them. And as part of that, he dipped one of his suits of armor in Uru metal, which is what Mjolnir is made of, and made like basically a new version of the Iron Destroyer. And let me tell you, if there's one thing about the Thor Buster, it's that it looks really stupid and dumb, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like the Destroyer armor, but in Iron Man colors, so it looks quite goofy.
Mm.
Whereas this was like, it looks like just the normal Iron Man armor, but it is all grey, and it's got kind of like the stripy lines down it, and then just the spikes running down each arm. And it looks freaking cool.
Actually, that one wasn't too bad. The original Thorbuster armor just looked really stupid. But that one,
it's too boxy is the problem, I think.
Yeah, the Uru metal version looked like it actually could fight. See, this is one of my bigger problems with Iron Man armor in general, is that especially when it comes to stuff like the Hulkbuster or the deep sea diving Iron Man, where you got a guy in an iron suit inside another iron suit, like some kind of strange Russian doll, thinking that, okay, and if I put on a big enough suit of armor, I can punch the world.
See, I love the fact that the diving armor has just a giant, like, bubble helmet on it.
Yes. But inside that bubble helmet...
You have a helmet on, Tony. You don't need a second helmet.
That's... Just see what I mean, though? It's like, it is some bizarre Russian doll thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I do want an armor that is just like the Maratoshka armor, where it's just a suit of armor inside 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 a suit of armor.
I'm just, I'm literally just thinking about other heroes that you could put the word Buster after to see if he's got a suit of armor for them. A Hawkeye Buster, does he need one? Really?
I mean, again, I feel like this is the principle that for a Hawkeye Buster armor, Iron Man would make like a really high-tech, complicated bow and arrow, and then spend like months training so he can be almost as good a shot as Hawkeye is.
Yeah.
And try and take him on that way. Which is also ironic, because Hawkeye was originally an Iron Man enemy.
Yeah, this is true. Captain America Buster?
I mean, I guess that's just his normal suit of armor when they have a spat.
Exactly.
Let's...
Anyway, what about a Dormammu Buster armor?
Ooh, now we're heading into... See, remember we talked about Quantum earlier?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is kind of the bit that we were talking about.
It is. So this one is cheating a teensy tiny bit, because we're actually talking about a What If issue.
Yeah. And
this is What If Volume 2, issue 113. What if Iron Man was the Sorcerer Supreme? So in this universe, basically Tony Stark is the one who's responsible for Stephen Strange's car accident. And because of that, he decides he's going to do whatever he can to get Stephen the treatment he needs. And that basically ends up putting him on the same origin story as Doctor Strange. So, like he finds the Ancient One, discovers he can use magic to help Stephen's hands, and then just starts training to become a wizard, because why wouldn't you? Then flash forward a few years later, and Tony Stark is now Sorcerer Supreme. Although, he may be the master of the mystic arts, but he's not the master of fashion.
Yeah, he really isn't.
Because he just has the weirdest, like, hodgepodge outfit of the two heroes. So it's like, if you imagine the classic Doctor Strange outfit, with the sort of blue tunic, with, of course, the big puffy sleeves and the cloak. But then he's got, like, Iron Man gauntlets and the Iron Man sort of head wrap thing. And then just, like, the Iron Man face armor, but over one eye. So it's just like a monocle.
Mm.
And the idea is that Tony Stark, he's rigged his computer system so that basically, like a Final Fantasy game, he can bring up like enemy stats and to open his spell list and select what spell he's going to cast.
Okay.
It looks very goofy. Although, to be fair, at the end of the issue, he does, build a full-on magic Iron Man suit. Where it is, the Iron Man armor, but in Doctor Strange's colours. And still with the now pretty redundant cloak of levitation on.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just a what-if one, though, that I remember him being the Sorcerer Supreme. I think it was in that Generations thing as well, that we covered a while ago.
Yeah, I think they do kind of bring back the idea of just, a potential future Tony Stark who's now switched to magic.
Well,
but that one didn't even have a fancy monocle, Rob, so who cares?
No, he didn't. But the interesting thing about that one was that it was Ironheart who went to the future and met Tony Stark, Sorcerer Supreme, and I think it was mentioned that the whole point of him becoming Sorcerer Supreme was basically because he got bored of technology and decided to learn magic because he could, which is a Tony Stark explanation, let's be fair.
Yeah, that is the kind of deep character introspection that I expect from Tony Stark.
Don't forget the whole incident with the doctorates. Do you remember?
No, I refuse to. I can and will forget the whole incident with the doctorates.
Do you remember what I'm talking about or not?
Yeah, I do not know. That's what I mean.
All right, okay.
Speaking of bizarre nonsense that I don't understand, do you remember Ultimate Iron Man, guys?
Yes.
Remember how he has an inoperable brain tumour?
Hmm.
What if the tumour was sentient?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's not just sentient, is it?
No. So this is Ultimate Comics Ultimates issues 10 to 26. Yeah. Tony Stark reveals that his tumour is sentient and is been appearing to him in the form of a young boy who he's named Anthony.
Yep.
And also Anthony can hack machines and is telekinetic.
Yep.
Like Extremis, but weirder.
Yep.
Which is saying something, because Extremis is pretty weird.
Again, we come to this whole thing where I'm just I look at this storyline and I think, did the writer sit down and watch that strange John Travolta movie, that Phenomena movie? Did they watch that before they put pen to paper to make this storyline? Because
I don't, and I swear you just make these movies up to mess with me.
No, seriously. There is a John Travolta movie, I think it's from the early 90s, called Phenomena, where he just plays this slightly dull guy who lives in a small town in America, and he sees a bright light one night, and you think it's aliens, but it turns out that he's got this brain tumor that's activating parts of his brain, but he's also dying in the process.
They activate the parts of his brain that can hack into machines and move things with his mind.
Basically, yes. He becomes.
I can confirm that this film exists, Andrew.
Yeah, he becomes super smart and he can manipulate objects with his mind.
Maybe it's a good thing that all of Hollywood had to shut down.
Yeah, unfortunately, it came 20 years too late.
I know.
Anyway, Mick, you've not done well so far. But one final time, for all the money in the pot, would you like to guess why Tony Stark had a sentient brain tumor?
Because comics.
Ooh, very close. But unfortunately, I'm not going to have to give it to you this time.
Oh.
Or indeed, I'm going to have to not give it to you this time, which is a sentence that works within the English language. In my defense, much like the Ultimate Comics version of Tony Stark, I probably have an Infinity Gem in my head.
Yep.
Now, you see, how come that gives Tony Stark a sentient brain tumour, but the Vision gets away with it?
Because Tony Stark doesn't wear it as a fancy forehead jewel, that's why not.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
This was the period when that weird version of Reed Richards appeared, wasn't it? The one who decided to get smarter by adding more brains to his brain and end up with a weird kind of xenomorph alien head type thing.
What?
Yes.
Mick's probably thinking, Rob's just saying words strung together. Any words that pop into his head right now.
I mean, to be fair, I think that most weeks.
Yeah, but it's okay, Mick, because he had a special hat.
Oh, well, of course. Now, you see, if you'd have led with that, Rob.
Oh, he captures Tony Stark and decides to do brain surgery on him.
Yeah.
Multi-tentacle brain surgery, it looks like, at times.
Basically, this is what happens when Jonathan Hickman starts a series and then gets very abruptly taken off to do the Avengers instead. And someone else has to go, Infinity Gem.
Yeah.
And that's Iron Man. What a weirdo.
I mean, that's literally all of the more, well, we say more bizarre powers. I mean, we haven't even touched on the normal powers. He has a psychic shield from S.H.I.E.L.D.
I mean, I'd want a psychic shield from S.H.I.E.L.D. if I could have one.
Well, yeah. I mean,
also, is it though, Rob? Is it, or have they just given him a hat made of tinfoil?
It basically is a tinfoil hat. He's implanted with a device that blocks out the strongest telepaths. And Charles Xavier, apparently, maybe. It depends if he's using Cerebro or not.
I think that also might have been like an extremist thing.
Yeah.
Where he can't be hacked because his brain is computers now.
Yeah. Just the normal Iron Man powers are kind of out of the park, though. I mean, strength, durability, flight, speed, repulsor blasts, laser beams, rockets, smart missiles. You know, he's got EMP. His weakness is EMP, but also he can use EMP, which is kind of a, that's the shooting yourself in the foot to smash someone else in the face.
I mean, look, you keep saying things like that, but I'm pretty sure the Punisher is weak to bullets. And Thor is weak to getting smashed in the face with a big hammer.
Well, everyone's weak to getting smashed in the face with a big hammer.
My point still stands.
Except maybe Superman. I mean, you could try hitting him in the face with a big hammer, but...
Actually, Superman is specifically weak to magic.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a point. And Mjolnir is magic.
Yes, so Thor would definitely beat Superman in a fight. Marvel versus DC, the comic mini-series where Superman won.
Hold the phone. According to this list of Iron Man powers I have in front of me, apparently Iron Man has a laser sword. I don't recall no laser sword.
That was from the Marvel Comics Star Wars crossover.
Oh, no, you're thinking of the time Black Knight was leading the Avengers, and he had a photonic blade.
Yes. It's not a lightsaber at all.
I wonder if now that like Disney own the both of them, we can just have a comic where Black Knight shows him and goes, it was a lightsaber. It was a lightsaber like from the film Star Wars.
I really want that, or if they refer to the lightsaber in Star Wars, in the Star Wars movies at some point, they say, we call this a lightsaber, but really it's a photonic blade.
Yes, we should definitely rewrite the multi-million-dollar Star Wars franchise.
Well, to be fair,
Avengers comic from the 90s.
To be fair, they've repackaged and reissued it for less.
Well, all I was going to say was, I wouldn't put it past Disney, Marvel, whatever they are now, to do that, since when they bought Star Wars, they basically got rid of the entire expanded universe to rewrite it for themselves.
It's okay, the expanded universe can still exist in our hearts.
Yeah. Because there were some great stories in there. But yes.
Okay, and I think this is kind of the mournful note to fade out on, so... It's like we're in the film.
It really isn't.
This wasn't even a Star Wars episode.
No, it wasn't. It somehow ended up in that. Also,
anyway, I think we're at the end of the show now.
We are. I just want to say, if you are interested in learning more about Iron Man's powers, there are some great resources online. Especially pay attention to some of the more exotic alternative versions of the Iron Man armor, because there's some fun to be had there.
I hate the way you said everything about that.
But you know it's true.
It's created images in my mind that I did not want.
Are we back to the superhero Buster-Rama?
I swear to God, it's like Charlie Brown with the football. One of these days when Rob says, "Can I just add?" I'm just going to say no. It's never worth it, Rob.
So anyway, we're at the end of the show. Do you want to do the honors, Andrew?
I mean, I can do. If you've liked what you've heard, you can find more of the show at thegeekshow.co.uk or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are a fan, please consider donating on our Patreon. Even as little as $1 a month helps us, keep the costs down. Lets us keep doing this thing that we love doing. But if you don't want to donate, I understand, times are tough at the moment. Please consider leaving us a review on iTunes or whatever podcast app you use. So, until next time, I've been Andrew.
I've been Rob.
And I've been Mick.
So long, and thanks for listening.